So I'm at Monarto Zoo, bringing my 200 to 600, see what I can get. It's sunny, it's nice weather, so hopefully it all works out. All I know is I got a lot of bags on me. Need a bag runner. As you can see, it's quite bright, so I'm glad I got the ND filter on, but I'm going to aim to get some photo video with the 200 to 600. I didn't bring any tripod. The ZV-E1 is on the Monopod, but we'll see what I can do. Maybe I can stabilize using some of the guardrails or whatever. We'll see what we can get. So inside the gate now, waiting for the bus so I can get into the park. You know what's crazy is that this place is basically wildlife just caged in the Adelaide Hills. Imagine if a lion broke out, or a cheetah. Pretty nuts to think about. First stop, checking out the meerkats, the chimps. This is what used to be the entrance, so they've changed it around a bit since I last came here. So it was a bit confusing, didn't know when to get off the bus, but I'm off and I'm gonna see what I can get. So far I haven't got very much, but heading on to the chimps now, seeing if they're going to be throwing shit at each other or just doing fun stuff, because just looked at the meerkats, didn't see the porcupines, but we'll keep trying. Just realised I forgot to put my DJI Mic 2 on, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to mic myself up just so the audio is a little bit cleaner when I am talking, and that way I'll use the lavalier mic, I think. Still getting used to how heavy this 200 to 600mm lens is. So I've just got some video of the chimpanzees. Probably not very stable, but hey, doing the best I can. I tried to stabilize by leaning on this post, but don't know if that helped. I decided against putting on the DJI mic. I'm just going to use the 3-mic capsule on the ZV-E1. Why not? It's still a good sounding microphone on this camera, so you can get an example of how this is vlogging style, because essentially that's what the ZV-E1 is for. So I don't know where I'm headed now. I think I'm going to go through past the giraffes and then on past the rhinoceros, hopefully lions and then the cheetahs. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue getting photo, video of those animals using this monopod so I can hold this camera out. I've got the dynamic stabilization on so you can get an idea of how stable the footage is as well. I'm not going to stabilize in post unless I feel like it really needs it when it's wildlife footage, but none of this talking head stuff because I can't be bothered. So I mentioned earlier that this place is located in just outside the Adelaide Hills, I guess in the plains, the valley area of the Adelaide Hills, and it's fascinating to think that there's wildlife like lions, cheetahs, rhinoceros just kept in fences. It's kind of like Jurassic Park in a sense. They could break out and just start roaming Adelaide. It's probably never going to happen, and maybe it's nearly happened, I don't know. All I know is it's quite cool to think, you know, that just wildlife are just placed in the hills and kind of like their own environment in a sense. When I intended to do video on the Sony 200-600, I got a Peter McKinnon ND filter, but I still haven't bothered to use it since learning that it degrades the quality of the image in photos, and I imagine it does the same thing with video because same lens. So just shooting with a bit of a closed down aperture in a lot of these times when I'm shooting the wildlife, so it's not going to blur out the background, but still good enough in my opinion.
You cannot fade experience for people to try and find.
So it's just me now. There's no one else around me. I just got off the safari bus that was taking me through the cheetah, lion, rhino, and hippopotamus area. I think maybe it wasn't hippopotamus, but the lions aren't doing much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up to the viewing point, see if I can get any of them. But beautiful weather today. It's nice and sunny. It's no longer raining. It's been an average winter, very, very cold winter. But all I can do is look forward to spring, make the most of the weather that we have at the moment, and hopefully get some lion footage or whatever else is going on around here. There's, I think, cheetahs nearby as well. Just gonna make my way around. There's a rhinos behind me. See what I can capture. So I'm in the Windana viewing platform where the lions are. I think there's a two-sided viewpoint for the lions. I've forgotten how heavy this camera is. It's quite wearing on my neck, but oh well. I brought too many bags, brought too much gear, but I'm just gonna make the most of it really. Maybe I just gotta stop complaining. I'm gonna get one big arm, but using the A7CR on this with the 200-600, so far so good. I'm at the lion viewing platform and not much is happening. I've been here before with a 70-200 and wasn't very happy with the photos or video that I got then. Now that I've got the 200-600, of course they're nowhere to be seen. As I drove through, I mean, I can see them now, way off in the distance. They're lying down, it's the females, and I think they've separated the males because the daughters of the males within the female population, they don't want inbreeding and crossbreeding, so well, they want inbreeding, not crossbreeding, Ben. But in the distance behind me as well, don't know if you can focus on that, but they're building a resort, like a 72 room hotel, motel, whatever the hell it is. Fascinating. I guess whatever makes money. Hopefully I can see some lions today. That was really one of the biggest reasons I came along, so I can get some tight shots of the lions, but maybe I need to throw some snacks over, get their attention. So far only the hyenas, and even they're walking away. Bit of a disappointing day, but got to manage my expectations. It's probably not the most ideal time, maybe it's not feeding time, don't know. But I got some photos while I was on the bus, probably not the best. It's a bit hard to stabilize this lens while you're moving on a dirt path, but as soon as we'd stop I'd get as many shots as I could, so see what I can make of the photos that I got today. But I'm going to head back probably to the bus, head to the giraffes and see if I can get some photos of the baby and the adult giraffes. But like I said, it's a bit disappointing, but oh well. Making the most of the equipment during winter, and I can always come back. I got a 2-ticket pass. I got a pass to here today, Monarto Zoo, and I got a ticket pass to Adelaide Zoo as well, so can always head there and see what I can get. It's a lot easier to capture wildlife there, even though I couldn't really consider it wildlife, being that they're in cages, more so at the Adelaide Zoo than they are here. All there really is just high fences with some, not even barbed wire on top. Guess that's just enough to keep them in. You'd hope so anyway. So I'm walking on a path between the lions and I think it's the rhinoceros. Could have waited for a bus, but I decided against it. Decided to go for a bit of a walk, get some sunlight. Wearing too much clothes, carrying too much gear, but I have to carry a backpack with me for one, water, and two, being a type 1 diabetic, I don't have lollies on me or food. Could be very dangerous. So just want to talk about my experiences with the Sony 200-600 so far, and I'm really enjoying it. It's not let me down. If anything, my skills or experience or just technique are probably what's letting me down. Sure, I haven't been able to get that banger photo yet, but just have to keep coming out, keep heading out, keep taking, you know, chances, risks, even when it comes to weather. In my video with the bats, it was quite, you know, daunting when it rained on me, worrying that my gear was damaged. But if anything I've learned in my time following over with a Sony camera and lens, that Sony cameras are built pretty rugged considering. Haven't broken a lens or Sony camera yet, so just need to, you can hear I'm puffed. It's carrying kilos of water and gear. Maybe I need to get out and do more cardio. So far it's, you know, been a reasonably enjoyable experience. Haven't today been able to get photos of the lions or cheetahs that I'd really want to post or write home about, but oh, it's all about the experience. I'm trying to make this an enjoyable experience. Even this YouTube channel, trying to make it enjoyable where I'm recording when I want to, how I want to, not just to suit an algorithm or get views and likes, which, you know, is what you want as a YouTuber. Just trying to make it so it's more about the experience and having fun and getting out there and using my equipment. I swear I'm fitter than this. Like I said, carrying a lot of camera gear. But back to the Sony 200-600. Very glad I bought this lens. No regrets at all. I want to start getting more video with it. That's why I got the tripod. But I'm enjoying photography again. I didn't think I would enjoy photography because, you know, doing it for a business, you tend to lose a joy or enjoyment because it becomes about how much money you can make or meeting someone else's expectations. Now, all I need to match or meet my expectations, and trying to go easy on myself and realize I'm still learning. It's been only 5 years since I started photography, and it's always a journey of learning. I'll never be the photographer I want to be, and that's part of the process of learning and growing. And just, it makes me want to get out there and shoot more because I'm never content with my content. Enough rambling from me. I'm just gonna continue walking. I'm dying. I need to stop for some water soon. I'm not bringing this amount of bags again. That's been the least enjoyable part of this, is carrying all this equipment. Because I'm still amateur as hell, I forgot to talk about specifics about the lens that I've enjoyed or found or things I've noticed, but I've not noticed any issues with autofocus. It's just about being mindful of what settings I'm using, and I've been altering my approach. For example, I use a medium tracking spot and I just keep that in the center of my frame, and then I can select whatever I want to focus on and track it that way. So far it hasn't let me down, but that's just in the experience that I've had so far. It's sharp. I did doubt its sharpness initially because I had that filter on the front, which I've still not used. Kind of scared to be honest. $270 for no reason at all, but I'm not going to sell it. I'll keep it because I can use it with step-up rings for my other lenses, or just use it for video with this because I don't need to be that sharp with video, to be honest. But it's pretty heavy, you know. Complained about it a few times today alone, but That's just because I'm not used to lugging this kind of lens around and trying to hold it steady. The optical steady shot probably leaves a little bit to be desired, but that's just my experience. I haven't used the lens this long before, and it's probably going to be like that with any 600mm lens. And to be honest with you, I rarely ever use it below 600. I would pull it out to 200 to reframe and then zoom out to 600 so I can get the animal or whatever I'm trying to photograph in frame. But that made me realize that I made the right choice rather than getting the 100 to 4. Nearly slipped. Did you hear that? I'm so clumsy with camera gear, it's a joke. I need to wear hiking boots for this kind of thing. But I was deciding between the 100 to 400 G Master or this 200 to 600 G lens. I'm glad I got this one. It's making me consider getting the 1.4 times teleconverter or potentially the 2 times teleconverter. Haven't heard the best reviews in regards to those pieces of equipment. It degrades the image quality and perhaps the autofocus in what I've seen so far, but I'm yet to use it myself. But if I were to get one, it would be the 1.4 times because I'm big on reviews, and the reviews are saying that that's better for this lens as opposed to the 2 times. And the only reason I would want one is because I'm always desiring more length. That's what she said. And I would just find that I crop into the APS-C mode more often than not. And if I can just get full frame at around, you know, just under 900, and why wouldn't I? So that's about $600 Australian, so it's something I'm considering but not jumping on just yet. But autofocus, stabilization, build quality, cannot complain. Still getting used to using it, but it's definitely my favorite Sony lens to date, and that's only for this kind of application. If I were to pick a favorite for versatility, it would have to be my 24 to 105 G lens. That thing I love. I was going to put on this ZV-E1 but decided against it. Just got the 24 2.8 G on here because it's light, it's small, easier to keep me in frame because it's not a very long lens. I apologise for the changing light and changing exposure, but I'm walking. Probably a good thing I didn't wear the DJI mics as well, because all you would have heard is me being breathless and trying to survive on a safari walk. It's a beautiful day, it's warm, I'm wearing a jumper, should be getting some sunlight. We're about a month away from spring, and I cannot wait. Already starting to see dandelions pop up, daffodils, I think I was meant to say. And we're starting to get that September warmth. It's only the 2nd of August. But so far this ZV-E1, I've got it in the sunlight and people complain that it overheats. I'm going to touch it now. It's a little bit warm, but there's no overheating warning. And I've been recording this for probably 2-3 minutes. So this camera only overheats if you do silly things like recording long form in 50p or 60p, 100p or 120p, depending on where you are in the world. But in Australia, shooting PAL, it would be 25, 50 or 100, but I'd only shoot long form at 25p. And I don't believe I'd have very much of a chance overheating this little beast of a camera. How much further have I got to go? I feel like I'm lost, probably. I'll find my way. I think there's a bird swooping me as well. Probably getting a little bit too close to its nest. So if you see a bird come in the frame, it's because it's angry at me. If you are in the market for a Sony 200 to 600 and you're comparing it or considering getting the Tamron or the Sigma, just get the Sony. Yes, there are options like the 60 to 600 Sigma with I think 6 stops of stabilization inbuilt into the lens, but if you can get native, get native. There's not often you're going to be using a long telephoto lens at under 200, in my experience. And I think the Sigma, for good reason, obviously is a little bit more expensive than the Sony 200-600 because you basically have a 70 to 200 included in that lens. I haven't used it, so I can't give you my personal experience or opinion on it, but I was considering it at the time of getting this lens and have no regrets that I got the Sony instead. Plus I like white. People put wildlife covers on their 200-600, but I'm going to keep mine au naturel, beautiful and white. That sounded racist, didn't it? I swear to God I'm not. In this section that I'm in, there's some emu just over there. I'm going to get some photo of them. They're right there, so they've got access to kick me if they don't like me. So you know you're in the sticks. I'm going to spend some time hopefully getting some photos of them. I'm going to take this damn jumper off. Far too hot. So kind of got lost. Walked from the carnivore section back to the giraffes and then got on a bus and realized I'm going to have to get back to the carnivore spot so I can walk back to the visitors center. So quite inexperienced at this kind of thing, but oh well. I'm calling it a day. Didn't get the photos or video that I'd really have liked to. Bit bright, Benny. Bit dark. But you know, it's all about the experience. It's all about getting out there, getting familiar with the equipment, taking chances, just making the most of my gear, and having fun with it. I can't imagine it's always going to be one of those situations where you get the photos that you really like or video that you really like, but it doesn't stop you from trying. I end up taking my jumper off because it's pretty warm today. This is probably the warmest day this winter's had because it's just been the coldest winter I've experienced in years. Living in the hills, it probably doesn't help. It's generally about 5 degrees cooler in the hills than it is in the city. But for those who are curious, those who come to Adelaide, Monarto Zoo is worthwhile. At least to come see the wildlife in, I guess, a similar way to their natural habitat. Unfortunately today they weren't very active, so that's just from a photographer's perspective. I guess you are a photographer if you're watching this video though. But I recommend it. It's relatively affordable and it's just a good experience to head out to somewhere that's similar to, I imagine, what Africa's like. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you like this video. Hasn't been much to show you today in regards to the wildlife, in quotation marks, but hope you like the photos and the videos of the animals here. If you do like this type of content, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. All I'm doing is really just having fun with it, but if there are things you'd like me to do or capture around Adelaide, comment it down below and I'll see if I can get to it. In the meantime, I'm the shy camera guy. I'll see you in the next video.